What's up? Welcome back to the podcast today. How are you guys doing? I have had some interesting downloads of what I should talk about. And so I think I'm gonna go with this one today because it was just the most prominent because, well, one, I feel like I've seen it in different areas of my life, and also I've seen it in other people's lives. So I thought it would be cool to talk about making decisions because as a Libra sun and moon, I can be indecisive as hell. And anyone that has those kind of placements knows what I'm talking about. And I feel as though sometimes we get stuck when we're trying to make a decision because we're so, what's the word I want to say? I was thinking engulfed, but we're so obsessed, maybe is a good word, with the outcome, or you don't really know what path to take, or especially if it's a big decision, blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to talk to you first about how I used to make decisions and how I make decisions now, coming from more of a 50 perspective and really leaning in to trusting myself. So this will start back in the day because I have some good examples of this. So when you're in high school in America, the that you are pretty much guided to go on, your little 18-year-old self, is you're going to go to college, you're going to go to university and learn about something, get a really good job, blah, 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 blah. So I wasn't real sure on where I wanted to go to college. Looking back, obviously, when you look back, you're like, okay, I would have done things differently, blah, blah, blah. But you had to go through things the way you did in order to learn those lessons and blah, blah, blah. So your soul wanted to experience those things. So don't be regretting a lot of your decisions. Just sometimes looking back, you just need to give yourself a little hug for the things that you did, especially when you're younger. I feel like a lot of the decisions I made in my 20s maybe weren't my best ones, but that's okay because I'm growing and evolving. So I didn't know where I wanted to go to college, and honestly, I made the choice based on my cousin went to the college, so I visited her, and I think I stayed with her in her dorm one night. And my boyfriend at the time, he was actually not my husband, he was going to a school in northeastern Iowa, which was a couple hours from our hometown. And I'm sure this had a little sway at the moment too. Like, the college that I picked was only an hour away from his college, which could have had something to do with it. Part of me really wanted to go play volleyball or soccer at a smaller school, and sometimes I wish I would have done that because then I would have got to play. I mean, I played rec stuff, or what is that, intramural, all that kind of things, but it's like, okay, I wasn't sure. And honestly, cost was a big thing for me because I knew my parents, had saved, and it was always the narrative of college is so expensive and blah, blah, blah. And I picked a fucking public school because it was the cheapest route. It was that between what people were telling me. I didn't make the decision based on my intuition at all. If I would have fallen that, I would have maybe, oh my gosh, how fun would it have been to maybe even go out of state? But that wasn't even an option in my head because it cost too much, honestly, which makes me a little sad. But that's how I was thinking. So moving forward 3 years, because I was only there for 3 years, I get my degree and you need to get a job. You graduate college, you need to get a job. I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. People kept asking, adults in my life kept asking. Yeah. Honestly, didn't know, so I would, ask other people what they thought. Didn't really follow any pings. was stressed out about the decisions, ended up working at a bank in my hometown for a little bit. Then I quit before I had anything lined up because I was like, oh, screw it, it's gonna be fine, blah, blah, blah. Didn't have a job for a little bit. Then I got this job on contract that I didn't like, and the whole health promotion thing wasn't really panning out for me as I thought it might, and how other people had said that it would. And then I end up back at the bank. That's a funny story I tell in one of the several episodes. It's probably in the reintroducing myself, honestly, if you want to go back and listen to that. So I just was moving through these decisions, relying heavily on what other people were telling me to do. And I feel like the majority of my 20s was like that. And obviously, I don't remember like specific decisions I was making when I was younger or in high school or anything, but I'm sure they were definitely influenced by other people instead of me listening to what I wanted to do. So we fast forward, and I'm learning more about mindset, manifestation, your intuition, listening to your higher self, your spirit guide team, all this good, fun jazz that I've only learned in the past, what, my daughter's 4? 9, so like 3 to 4 years. So I feel like I've learned almost like a lifetime's worth of information. And maybe it was more remembrance too in that short amount of time. And it really flipped the switch on how I started making decisions. And I'm not saying like making decisions is like super easy and fun all the time. No, it's not. But I really just leaned into what I wanted to do. So, as you know, if you've been listening, I was at that corporate job and I just was like, oh my gosh, I just knew like in my heart, in my soul, I was like, I cannot keep up with this, especially when my children are little. So I kept playing it off. Like I would tell people, oh, this could be temporary too. I didn't, in the back of my mind, I was like, this isn't fucking temporary. Like this is not. I think I fed that lie to people around me, and honestly, people in my family too, to make them feel better. Because I was like, I have no intentions of going back to corporate America ever. I have no intentions in working 8 hours a day ever. It does not work for me. My energy type, oh my gosh, you guys, if you're a manifester, you know any manifestors in your life, I cannot work like that. We live, or even like any non-sacral being, projectors, reflectors, we do not work the same as 70% of the population. Our world is built for sacral people, the people that have got that energy going all the time. And don't make that make you feel bad or make you feel like less than or anything. I think it's really empowering to know, like, oh my gosh, like this is why I am the way I am. It was so eye-opening for me to figure that out. So if you don't know your human design type, look it up. Figure out if you are a sacral or non-sacral being, and that could really open your eyes to a lot. So when I'm making decisions now, it's really more about like, we're not assuming what the outcome is going to be, because I mean, you've got an idea of what you want to see down the line or whatever, and that's what, when you're setting intentions, creating a vision for the future and what you think it is, but like you're not attached to that. You're not attached to that because you trust that God, source, the universe is going to bring you something that matches that or even better. Like you don't want to be too attached to that outcome, because something can be going on in the background that you have no idea, you would never think of in a million years, but something much better and more beautiful than you could ever imagine is in the works. And if you're so attached to this one side, you are just pushing that other thing away. So I think it's important to, we've got this decision. Okay, I'm going to make a little structure for my girlies. You've got a decision like mine. I mean, what do you think? What do you want? What do you think you want to do? Feel into it. Like how, basically, I'm going to go with more of how you want to feel. How do you want to feel after making this decision? What do you think, a lot of the times I feel like we're also so like, it's got to be this way or this way. We're so like, oh, hi, buddy. We are so like, it's either going to be this or this. But really, in reality, it could be all these different like pathways. Don't limit yourself to either option A or option B when there's options A through Z, and you're not even thinking about that. And maybe you were just coming up with these crazy ideas in your head. And I'm not saying looking outward to make your decisions, but maybe a different perspective could help you shift into what you really want. I highly, highly recommend don't ask people in your life what you should do about a particular decision if you would not trade lives with them. Like if you do not think that you would want to trade lives with this person in your life, your views are just really different, or maybe you're similar to me and you're coming more into like this magical, mystical, esoteric way of living, and you're really shifting into that 5D energy. And a lot of the people of your life are still in 3D and are really stuck on their limiting beliefs, and they're playing small, and we don't have time for that shit anymore. And like, love them, love that for them, whatever, like whatever. No, but seriously, love them and where they're at. But be aware of when you're making decisions. You're like making decisions for you. You're not making decisions for your parents. Can I repeat that again? You are not making the decision for your parents. They've done their 20s, 30s, whatever. They had their time. You do not need to make your decisions based on what you think would make your parents happy. What would make you happy? What would make you happy? How do you want to feel? If you think that doing XYZ is going to make you feel a certain way, start to follow the breadcrumbs. And that's a big thing with like decisions too. It doesn't have to be like this big swing. You've got, this big decision that you need to make. Maybe it's a job, relationship, whatever. And in your head, you're creating this narrative like you're going to have to swing the pendulum like one way or the other, and there's no in between, and you're creating these stories, and it's like, okay, slow down. Let's start with the little steps. I almost think it's better to take a little bit of action than no action. Starting to do things differently in your life. Maybe having conversations you wouldn't normally have. And those little things are going to lead you down the path that you were meant to go down, and the path that you were more in alignment with. And if it's feeling like this isn't feeling good, or if you're not self-theme in human design, if you're feeling frustrated or angry about something or bitter, then it's a time to reassess the situation and see where you want to change and where you actually want to go moving forward. I mean, speaking of human design too, that could be another layer that you really take into account as your inner authority type, which I am not going to go through all those right now because I don't have any notes on them at the top of my head, because there's several different ones, like emotional, splenic. Now I can't think of the other ones because, let's be honest, those are the ones like I see the most, I feel like. And well, I don't know if I see splenic the most. That's just what I am. Some people need to listen to that like first intuitive nudge. Some people need to wait on their decisions too. That's a big thing. So, okay, let's clean all this up. We're going to clean all this up and give a little structure to this. So what are we going to do when we go make a decision? One, maybe sit with it yourself and get out a good old notebook, pros and cons. Think about the big picture and where you want to be, how you want to feel. How you want to feel is the big thing. I would really lean into that, and maybe not so much of the outcome. We don't need to be focusing on the outcome so much, because there could be a lot of different things going on that you aren't even aware of that. So really focusing more on how you want to feel after you make this decision. Maybe it's a big one, maybe it's a small one. Maybe it's what you want to eat for lunch, and like afterwards, obviously you want to feel satisfied and full, and the lunch was yummy. And starting small like that, finding out your human design energy type, authority. Inner authority is for making decisions, and then not self-theme and your signature. So you're knowing when maybe you should pivot, really see what's triggering you there, and maybe reassess the situation for what's ever going on. And I think that taking small action is better than taking no action. If you're feeling like you're stuck on a circle, on a loop, maybe the action you need to take is honestly like resetting yourself, getting your thoughts out on paper or speaking them out loud to see what the hell is really going on up here, and feeling a little better about, maybe this is a big decision and you don't want to do anything right away, or maybe you're getting your thoughts out on paper and you're like, okay, why am you're actually like reacting in a way that you normally wouldn't, or blah, blah, blah. So I think that is really important as well. We're, leaning into this feeling. And then at the end of the day, you need to just trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust your higher self to be guiding you exactly where you need to be. And does that mean it's going to be perfect and not messy and you're not going to make mistakes and blah, blah, blah? Hell no. Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to learn and grow and make those mistakes. Sometimes you do take the path less traveled because that's what your soul was meant to do and wanted to do in this lifetime. And sometimes the decision is not going to be easy. And maybe it is scary looking at this, you've got a decision and you're really focused on two different outcomes and you're like, well, each of them is scary, but like how are you going to feel after you make those decisions? Like, is it expansive for you? Is it an expansive decision? Are you feeling like constricted and tight and held back? That would be another really good way to look at things. I was like, okay, that just came out of nowhere. What is a decision making you feel expansive? Like, these are all just things that you need and you should think about when you're making decisions. And lastly, I do want to say sometimes you just gotta say fuck it and dive head first. That's what I kind of did when I ended up finally leaving my corporate job. No idea how things were going to go. Like, obviously staying was scary because I was unfulfilled, didn't like it, knew I had to be somewhere else. But then also going was scary because of like, at the time, financially, I really was nervous about all of that. And the unknown can be scary. We don't like it. We don't like the unknown a lot of the times. So for that one, I held on for a while because I got my real estate license in May. I didn't actually quit till September, but I kind of held on to that decision. And I finally was like, fuck it. I know what I need to do. And it was scary. And I'm not going to lie, the first year or two was kind of rough. And then of course, like September happens, I leave. November, I get pregnant. So that was a whole, I'm like, higher self, please stop the lessons. No, it was good. It all worked out as it should. I think my son came at the perfect time. Talk about divine timing. Oh, I love him. I'm like, oh, so cute. I love him so much. I love both my kids so much. They both came at, looking back at my life and how it was, I just am like, those two kids came exactly when I needed them to, when our family needed them to. So it's been a beautiful journey. And yes, you're always going to have to make decisions. So let's make decisions for ourselves. Let's make decisions really anchoring into how we want to feel. And at the end of the day, you might just have to do a scary thing and it's going to be okay. You just have to trust that wherever you're going, it's going to be okay. And maybe you do quote unquote fail at some things, learn some lessons. That's just feedback for you moving forward. And it's really going to help in the big grand scheme of things. So I hope that makes decision making a little less scary for you. And if you have any thoughts, feedbacks, I would love to hear it. Take a minute to please, if you're still listening, share the podcast with your friends. Leave me a review. I would totally appreciate that. And have a wonderful rest of your day.